A visitor once entered a quiet apartment in Tokyo and made 3 mistakes in less than 1 minute. He walked across the floor wearing his outdoor shoes. He placed his travel bag on the dining table. Then he sat on the edge of the bed wearing the same clothes he had worn on the train. His host remained polite. She smiled. She said nothing. But inside, she felt as if the dirt of the entire city had just entered the most private parts of her home, because what feels completely normal in one culture can feel deeply unclean in another. And these 6 everyday hygiene habits reveal something surprising about the way many Japanese people separate the outside world from the spaces where they eat, rest, and live. 1. Wearing outdoor shoes inside the home. The first habit is probably the most famous, but most people still do not understand why it matters so deeply. Wearing outdoor shoes inside the home. In many Western homes, walking through the front door without removing your shoes does not feel unusual. You may enter the kitchen, cross the living room, walk upstairs, and only remove your shoes when you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes you do not remove them at all. You may even hear someone say, "The floor is going to get dirty anyway," but in many Japanese homes, that sentence would miss the entire point. The issue is not simply visible dirt. The issue is the boundary between outside and inside. Think about everywhere your shoes have been today. They have crossed sidewalks where hundreds of strangers have walked. They have touched parking lots, public bathrooms, train platforms, office floors, wet streets, elevators, shops, and entrances. Even when the soles look clean, they have been in places you would never touch with your hands. And yet, when those shoes enter the home, everything collected outside begins traveling with you, a few steps across the entrance, then across the living room, then near the kitchen, perhaps even beside the bed. In Japan, the entrance area is often treated as a dividing line. Genkan is not merely a place to store shoes. It is a border between 2 environments. The outside world stops there. The home begins beyond it. This is why shoes are removed before stepping fully into the living space. They are usually placed neatly, often facing toward the door so they are ready to be worn again when leaving. Indoor slippers may then be used, but even those slippers belong to the cleaner inner space. The deeper meaning is simple. Your home should not be forced to absorb everything the outside world placed on you. You leave the noise at the door. You leave the rush at the door. You leave the dirt at the door. There is also something psychological about this action. When you remove your shoes, your body receives a signal. You are no longer outside. You are no longer moving through public space. You have arrived somewhere protected. That small act creates a pause between the demands of the world and the calm of the home. Now imagine the opposite from the perspective of a Japanese host. A guest enters without stopping. The shoes cross the clean threshold. The soles move across a floor where people may sit, stretch, or place personal belongings. In some homes, bedding may be arranged close to floor level. Children may play there. People may kneel or sit directly on mats. The floor is not treated as a distant surface beneath the furniture. It is part of the living environment. This is why wearing shoes inside can feel less like a small mistake and more like walking into someone's bedroom with muddy hands. And here is where many people create an awkward second problem. They remove their shoes, but then step onto the clean indoor floor with the same foot that was standing in the dirty entrance area. The clean foot touches the dirty section. Then that same foot steps inside. The purpose of the boundary is immediately weakened. The cleaner habit is to remove one shoe, place that foot directly onto the raised clean area, then remove the second shoe without stepping back onto the outdoor section. It sounds extremely precise, but that precision is what prevents dirt from spreading. You do not need a traditional Japanese entrance to use this idea. Choose one place near your door where outdoor shoes stop. Place slippers or indoor footwear beside it. Make removing shoes automatic rather than optional. Do not let everyone walk through the house and then decide where to take them off. The earlier the shoes stop, the less cleaning the rest of the home requires. And that is the secret behind many Japanese hygiene habits. They are not built around cleaning dirt after it spreads. They are built around preventing the dirt from entering in the first place. But shoes are only the beginning, because the second habit carries the outside world even deeper into the home, directly onto the place where you sleep. 2. Sitting on the bed in outside clothes. You return home after a long day. You are tired. You walk into the bedroom and sit on the bed while checking your phone. Maybe you lie back for a moment. Maybe you are still wearing the jacket you wore on the bus, the trousers you wore at work, or the clothes that touched a restaurant chair. It feels harmless. You are not visibly dirty. You have not been rolling on the ground. So what could possibly be wrong with sitting on your own bed? For many Japanese people, the answer is simple. Your bed is one of the cleanest and most private spaces in your entire home. Your outside clothes do not belong there. Consider what those clothes have touched. The back of your coat pressed against a train seat. Your trousers touched an office chair used every day. Your sleeves brushed against doors, counters, railings, and crowded public spaces. Your bag may have rested on the floor. Your clothing has been quietly collecting contact from the outside world for hours. Then you return home and place all of it on the surface where your face will rest later that night. This is not always considered shocking in the West because many people divide cleanliness into only two categories. Something is either visibly dirty or it is clean. But Japanese hygiene often pays attention to invisible transitions. Where has this item been? What space does it belong to? Should something from the public world touch something used for rest? This is why many people change into comfortable home clothing soon after arriving. The change is not only about comfort, it is a reset. Outside clothing belongs to the outside part of life. Home clothing belongs to the protected inner environment. And sleeping clothes belong to an even cleaner layer. Each transition creates separation. You may think this sounds excessive until you notice what happens when there is no separation at all. A person wears the same clothes outside, inside, on the couch, on the bed, and sometimes even sleeps in them. The city and the bedroom gradually become one continuous environment. There is no clean zone. There is no moment when the body truly leaves the outside world behind. This can also affect how restful the bedroom feels. When you sit on the bed in work clothes, you bring more than dust into the room. You bring the emotional weight of the day, the office, the commute, the pressure, the conversations you are still replaying. Changing clothes creates a physical signal that the public part of your day has ended. You are no longer dressed for strangers. You are no longer prepared to perform. You can soften. You can breathe. You can become private again. This habit becomes especially important with travel bags, handbags, backpacks, and suitcases. Many people place a bag on the floor of a train station, airport, office, cafe, or public bathroom. Then they come home and place that same bag on the kitchen counter, dining table, sofa, or bed. From a Japanese hygiene perspective, this can feel deeply uncomfortable. A bag that has lived on public floors should not suddenly sit where food is prepared or where your face rests. The problem is not the bag itself. The problem is that you are allowing one surface to cross into another environment without thinking. Create a place for outside belongings. A hook near the entrance. A shelf. A chair that is not used for sleeping. A small area where work bags and coats can remain separate from the cleanest parts of the home. When you return, wash your hands, change your clothes, and then sit on your bed. You may notice something unexpected. The bed feels different, cleaner, calmer, more protected. You begin to treat it as a place reserved for recovery, rather than another surface where the entire day gets dropped. And once you understand this separation, the third habit becomes impossible to ignore. Because in Japan, even bathing follows a rule that surprises many Western visitors. The bath is not where you wash the dirt away. You are expected to be clean before you enter it. 3. Entering the bath without washing first. Imagine filling a bathtub with hot water, then stepping directly into it after a long day. You soak. You wash your body while sitting in the water. When you are finished, the water drains away. This is normal in many Western homes. The bathtub is where you both clean and relax. But in Japan, these are often treated as two separate activities. First, you clean your body. Then you enter the bath. The bath is not primarily a place for removing dirt. It is a place for soaking after the dirt has already been removed. This difference becomes extremely important in Japanese households because bath water may sometimes be shared by family members, not at the same time, but one after another. The water is kept clean because everyone washes and rinses before entering. Now imagine being the first person to step into that shared water without washing. Sweat, dirt, body oils, and everything collected throughout the day would enter the bath with you. The next person would then be expected to soak in that same water. This would not feel like relaxation. It would feel like sitting in someone else's bath water. That is why entering without washing can be seen as one of the most uncomfortable hygiene mistakes a guest can make. In a Japanese bathing area, you will often wash while seated outside the tub. You wet the body. Use soap. Wash carefully. Rinse completely. Only after no soap or dirt remains do you enter the hot water. The bath then becomes a clean space for warmth, stillness, and recovery. The difference is not difficult to understand when you compare it to a swimming pool. Most pools ask people to shower before entering. Why? Because the water is shared. The goal is to keep personal dirt from becoming everyone's problem. A Japanese bath follows a similar principle, but with much greater attention to ritual and respect. You clean yourself before using the shared space. There is also a deeper idea hidden inside this habit. Washing and soaking serve different purposes. Washing is practical. Soaking is restorative. When the two are separated, bathing becomes slower and more intentional. You are not rushing to scrub yourself while half submerged in cloudy water. You clean first. Then you allow yourself to rest. This creates a mental shift. The water is not carrying away dirt, it is carrying away tension. That is why the bath can feel almost ceremonial. The body is already clean. The remaining purpose is to release the day. Many visitors also make another mistake. They allow soap or shampoo to enter the bathtub. In a Japanese setting, this can ruin the clean soaking water. The soap belongs in the washing area. The bath remains clear. Another mistake is removing the drain plug when the next person still expects to use the water. If you are staying with a Japanese family, never assume the bathwater should be drained immediately. Ask first. The water may be reheated or reused according to the household routine, and when entering a public bath or hot spring, the expectations become even more important. Wash thoroughly before entering. Keep towels out of the shared water. Do not treat the pool-like space as somewhere to scrub your body. Do not enter wearing ordinary clothes. And do not assume that because the water is hot, hygiene no longer matters. The heat does not replace respect. This habit reveals a pattern that appears again and again. Clean yourself before entering the shared environment. Do not use the shared environment to clean yourself. The same principle applies far beyond bathing. It applies to kitchens, dining tables, bedrooms, public spaces. And most surprisingly, it applies to one tiny area of the home where some Japanese households use completely separate footwear, because the slippers worn in the toilet should never walk into the rest of the house. 4. Wearing toilet slippers. Outside the bathroom. You enter a Japanese home. You remove your outdoor shoes. You put on indoor slippers. Then you walk to the toilet and notice another pair of slippers waiting inside. You change into them, use the bathroom, wash your hands, and walk out. But you forget to change back. You continue down the hallway wearing the toilet slippers. To you, this may seem like a small and almost funny mistake. To everyone else in the home, it may feel horrifying. Why? Because toilet slippers belong to one specific zone. They are not ordinary indoor slippers. They exist to prevent anything from the toilet floor from traveling into the rest of the home. The moment you wear them into the hallway, the separation has failed. You have taken footwear designed for the least clean room and carried it into the cleaner living space. The mistake is so common among visitors that some hosts notice it immediately. A guest walks out, the host looks down, and there they are, the toilet slippers moving toward the kitchen. It is one of those moments when politeness and panic meet each other. The guest has no idea. The host knows exactly where those slippers have been. This habit can seem unusual to people who use one pair of shoes or slippers everywhere. But the principle is extremely logical. Different spaces carry different levels of contamination. The bathroom should not share the same floor contact as the bedroom. The toilet should not share the same footwear as the kitchen. You may not see anything on the sole. That does not mean nothing has traveled. In many Western homes, bathroom hygiene focuses almost entirely on washing hands. That is essential, but hands are not the only thing moving through the room. Your feet move through it too. The floor around a toilet is not treated like the floor beside a dining table. Separate slippers create a simple barrier. Enter, change footwear, use the toilet, wash your hands, step out of the toilet slippers before leaving the room, return to your indoor slippers. The system takes only seconds, but it protects the distinction between spaces. There is another detail that matters. Toilet slippers should usually remain inside the toilet area, positioned so the next person can use them without walking barefoot across the floor. When you leave, turn or place them neatly for the next person. This small act is not only about hygiene, it is a consideration. You are leaving the space ready for whoever comes after you. That idea appears throughout Japanese daily life. Do not leave a problem for the next person. Do not make your dirt someone else's responsibility. Do not walk away from a shared space without restoring order. This can be seen in public bathrooms, changing areas, restaurants, schools, and homes. Cleanliness is not only personal, it is social. Your behavior affects the comfort of people you may never meet. Now think about how often hygiene in other cultures is treated as a private preference. I do not mind. It does not bother me. I have always done it this way. But shared hygiene is not only about what bothers you, it is about what you carry into someone else's environment. You may not mind wearing toilet slippers into the living room. The person who later sits on that floor may mind very much. This is the hidden logic behind the rule. The floor is part of the living space. The home is shared. Contamination travels even when no one sees it. And if this habit seems strict, the fifth one is even more revealing, because it begins the moment you return home from the outside world, before you touch the food, before you sit down, before you begin spreading the day across every surface. You wash your hands. 5. Returning home without washing your hands. You come home carrying shopping bags. Your phone is in one hand. Your keys are in the other. You open the door, place the bags on the counter, touch the refrigerator handle, move a chair, check a message, and pick up something to eat. Only later do you remember that you have not washed your hands. For many people, this is completely normal. Hand washing happens after using the toilet, before cooking, or when the hands look dirty. But after simply returning home, that may not feel necessary. In many Japanese households, however, washing your hands after coming home is treated as an automatic part of entering. You do not wait until you are about to eat. You wash away the outside world before it spreads through the home. Think about everything your hands touched while you were away. Door handles, elevator buttons, cash, shopping baskets, train rails, touch screens, tables, packages, your phone, your face. Then you come home and begin touching the cleanest and most frequently used surfaces in your personal space. The refrigerator, kitchen cabinets, light switches, remote controls, bathroom doors, food containers. Within a few minutes, whatever traveled on your hands has been distributed across the home. This is why the timing matters. Washing your hands 20 minutes later is not the same as washing them immediately. By then, your hands may be clean, but the objects you touched are not. The most effective moment is near the beginning. Enter. Remove your shoes. Put your belongings in their proper place. Wash your hands thoroughly. Then continue with your evening. Some Japanese families also practice gargling after returning home, especially during cold and flu seasons. Whether someone follows that exact practice or not, the larger idea remains consistent. The outside environment stays outside as much as possible. You perform a small reset before entering fully into home life. This habit also explains why casual coughing and sneezing can create strong discomfort. In many Japanese public spaces, Covering a cough carefully is expected. When someone is unwell, wearing a mask has often been treated not only as self-protection, but as consideration for others. The message is not, "I am afraid of everyone." The message is, "I do not want my illness to become your problem." Now compare that with someone who coughs openly into the air, sneezes into their hands, and then touches a door handle. That behavior may appear careless because it ignores the people who will touch the same environment next. The issue is not that Japanese people never make these mistakes. They do. No culture is perfectly clean, no population behaves in exactly the same way. But the social expectation can be different. Hygiene is often connected to awareness of other people. You cover your mouth because others share the air. You wash your hands because others share the surfaces. You stay home when seriously ill when possible, because others share the train, office, or classroom. This way of thinking turns cleanliness into a form of respect. It is not only, "How do I protect myself?" It is also, "What am I leaving behind?" That question changes behavior. Imagine touching a train rail and then eating with your hands. Imagine sneezing into your palm and then shaking someone's hand. Imagine returning home and touching every kitchen surface before washing. Once you become aware of the chain, the habit becomes difficult to ignore. A useful solution is to make washing easy. Keep the sink clear. Keep soap available. Do not bury the hand towel beneath clutter. Create a simple arrival sequence that happens the same way each day. Shoes off, bag down, hands washed, home clothes on. Only then do you relax. After several days, you no longer need to remember. Your body begins following the order automatically. But there is one final hygiene habit that becomes especially uncomfortable during meals. You may think sharing food shows closeness, and it can, but the way you touch shared food can determine whether everyone at the table remains comfortable. 6. Using personal utensils carelessly in shared food. A group sits around a table filled with shared dishes. You taste something with your fork. Then you use the same fork to take another portion from the serving plate. You bite into a piece of food, decide you do not want the rest, and place it back. You dip a chip into a shared sauce, take a bite, and dip it again. You use your personal chopsticks to search through a dish, touching several pieces before choosing one. In many casual Western settings, this may not create much concern. People are friends, people are family, everyone is sharing the same meal. But in many Japanese dining situations, this can feel extremely unhygienic. The issue is not sharing food. Japanese meals often include dishes placed in the center for everyone. The issue is allowing utensils that have touched your mouth to repeatedly enter the shared dish. Once your personal chopsticks have touched your lips, they belong to your personal eating space. When those same chopsticks return to the communal plate, your saliva enters the shared environment. This is why serving chopsticks may be provided. These are used to move food from the shared plate to your individual plate. Then you eat with your personal chopsticks. The shared food remains separate from everyone's mouth. In casual family situations, people may follow different habits, and not every household is strict. But when serving utensils are present, ignoring them can appear careless. It sends the message that your convenience matters more than everyone else's comfort. There is also a polite technique, sometimes used when serving chopsticks are unavailable. A person may use the opposite, clean end of their chopsticks to take food from a shared plate. However, etiquette around this can vary, and the safest choice is simply to use the dedicated serving utensils when provided. Another important habit is not hovering over shared dishes while eating. Do not lean directly above the food while talking, coughing, or breathing heavily. Do not touch pieces you do not intend to take. Do not search through the plate as if inspecting every item. Choose one and place it on your own plate. The same care applies to sauces. Double dipping may feel harmless when you are alone, but shared sauce belongs to everyone. Once food that has touched your mouth returns to it, the sauce is no longer untouched. This is not uniquely Japanese. Many cultures dislike double dipping. But Japanese dining etiquette can make the separation between personal and communal space especially noticeable. Even pouring drinks may carry an element of awareness. In social settings, people may pour for one another rather than only filling their own glass. This turns the meal into an exchange of attention. You notice when another person needs something. You do not behave as though you are eating alone in a room full of people. That is the deeper lesson behind shared food hygiene. Your meal is not only about satisfying your own hunger. It is a space everyone is creating together. Your hands matter. Your utensils matter. The way you reach matters. The condition in which you leave the food matters. And there is one more habit that may surprise you. Passing food directly from one pair of chopsticks to another can be considered inappropriate in Japan because it resembles part of a traditional funeral ritual. Instead, place the food onto the other person's plate. This is not purely a hygiene issue, but it shows how small table actions can carry meanings visitors do not expect. The safest approach is simple. Watch how the table is arranged. Use serving utensils. Take one portion at a time. Keep personal utensils away from communal dishes. Do not return bitten food. Do not double dip. And remember that politeness often means reducing uncertainty for everyone else. No one should have to wonder whether the serving spoon touched your mouth. No one should have to inspect the shared dish after you search through it. No one should feel forced to continue eating something that now feels personally contaminated. Good hygiene does not draw attention to itself. It creates comfort so quietly that everyone can enjoy the meal without thinking about it. And that may be the most important lesson connecting all 6 habits. Japanese cleanliness is often not about perfection. It is about boundaries. Outdoor and indoor, public and private, dirty and clean, personal and shared. The rules may look small, but each one protects the comfort of the people around you. So the next time you enter your home, pause at the door. Remove your shoes before crossing the clean boundary. Keep outside clothes and public bags away from your bed. Wash before entering the bath. Never walk through the home wearing toilet slippers. Clean your hands as soon as you return. And when food is shared, keep your personal utensils out of the communal dishes. None of these habits requires expensive products or hours of cleaning. They require awareness, because real cleanliness is not only about what you remove after a space becomes dirty, it is about what you refuse to spread in the first place. Look around your home today and ask yourself one question. Where have I allowed the outside world to enter without noticing? Begin with one boundary, one pair of shoes, one clean bed, one washed hand, one respectful meal. Small habits can completely change how a home feels. And sometimes, the cleanest home is not the one that is scrubbed the hardest. It is the one where dirt was never allowed to travel very far.